have always been intrigued by butterflies. At the start, it is the colors that catch our attention. And then, as we spend more time with them, we start observing the different species. We notice patterns, habitats. It gives rise to questions like why they do certain things. How come they congregate at certain areas of the forest or on certain plant species?
So the monsoons have set in, and today is one day that we've got of bright sunshine, and you cannot imagine the kind of wildlife that we are seeing. Now right behind me there's a congregation of a huge number of butterflies, and I'm not kidding, there must be over 1,000 butterflies behind me. Come, let's have a look. Isn't this just incredible? I mean, just look at the number of butterflies here. There must be a few thousands over here flying around. This is just absolutely fabulous. I mean, they're almost banging into me. There's so many butterflies. So the most amazing thing is that these butterflies are actually all congregating here because of this particular plant. And these butterflies actually are all a part of a group known as milkweed butterflies. Now what they do is, they actually sit on this plant and suck on the poisonous sap that comes out. And this substance makes them unpalatable or bitter. And that basically helps protect them from predators. It's quite incredible. These butterflies, every year during the monsoon time, this particular family of butterflies actually migrates. And every year we've seen huge numbers of these butterflies collecting. Depending upon the vegetation and also the weather conditions, they move in thousands, and you'll almost see the sky covered in thousands of butterflies flying over your head. They don't congregate in such large numbers otherwise.
So what exactly drives them? Unfortunately, we don't know yet. While we wait for answers to these incredible butterfly mysteries, we got the opportunity to get very close to one of the most stunning members of the butterfly world.
What we have in front of us today is this incredibly beautiful butterfly. It's called the Banded Peacock, and I have never been so close to one of them. They're very fast flyers. They fly through the canopy, very rarely come down to the ground or stay still and cooperate like this guy is doing. And it's just amazing to see how beautiful this butterfly is in close quarters. You can see where they get their name from, the iridescent peacock-like markings that they have throughout their body. But if you look closely at the tip of the hind wing, you can actually see the ocelli, or the rings like the peacock has on its tail. You can see that he has two long tail-like projections at the tip of his hind wing, and that is the classification. He is from a group called the swallowtails. And all the butterflies in the swallowtail group have this long tail-like projection on the hind wing. And what he is doing right now, and what has brought him to this spot or kept him stuck to this spot, is wow, that is incredible. Wow. Did you see the colors? Wow. So what he is doing right now is something called mud puddling, which butterflies do often, where they come to the ground like wet mud or even carcasses or decaying vegetable matter, and they try to take the wet salts from them and excrete out the fresh water, because they need the salts for their body functioning. When they mud puddle, what they're actually doing is, you can actually see their long proboscis, which they usually have it curled up. They extend it out and they pierce the ground with that to extract the salts, and that gets processed in their body, and the fresh water comes out from the other end. And that's probably what is keeping him glued to one spot. He's found this perfect spot which he doesn't want to leave, despite the huge presence of me right next to him. And I feel quite amazing to be sharing this moment with this guy. And he looks so beautiful from the underside, but our butterflies generally have a dull underside, simply because when they're sitting, they don't want to be vulnerable or too visible to predators. And when they suddenly take off with a flash, that is when the bright upper side colors are visible, and that also actually acts like a source of confusion for the aggressor, because they've been looking at a dull brown insect and suddenly there's a flash of color. And this kind of behavior is also seen in grasshoppers and a whole lot of other insects. but I think it's very apparent in this particular one. Just as we were getting excited about his beautiful open wing colors, he took off, flew a few circles around us, and then disappeared back into the forest. While the butterfly was busy mud puddling, we got the chance to get really close and observe some very interesting details which definitely wouldn't have been clear from a distance. It is a very special encounter with a very beautiful butterfly.